I guess where I should really start is just the amount of privilege that I have to have parents that I'm able to live with, especially at my age too. I'm 39 years old and I'm living here, but it is for the best for my situation. I don't want to understate that it's a privilege, man. If you have the ability to live with your parents or with family, then you are a privileged individual. And I do not take that for granted at all. It is something that I will be forever grateful to them for. I guess in this video, I just am going to try to talk about why it's something that is looked down upon in society. I'm not alone, man. I know there's plenty of people in their 30s, 40s, and a lot of people in their 20s. I might even go so far as to say that a majority of people in their early 20s are still living at home with their parents. I would say that's an accurate thing to say. I don't know. I haven't looked that up. So I know I'm not alone. And I think it's something that less people are feeling bad about. I mean, I'm not like, well, this is as good as it's going to get. Guess I'm just going to kick back and just kind of work whatever. And fuck it, man. We're all going to turn into the dude from The Big Lebowski. But yeah. Living with my parents, it's sort of something like whenever I talk to somebody that I haven't seen in a while, I feel the urge to like let them know that first. So like, hey, Mike, what have you been up to, man? I'm just like, man, just living at my parents' house, living the dream. It's kind of funny and it takes the edge off. So I'm trying to stay on topic here, but if you're watching this and you think that living with your parents is something you could do, then I think you should at least give it the time of day to consider doing it, because you do save a lot of money. I do feel like the financial burden of having to pay rent, I don't have that stress of that, or I've lived with roommates that will come and go. So all of a sudden you're getting a new roommate and who knows if that's going to work out. And, I've lived with strangers that I've met off Craigslist, off Facebook, off of, I lived in a 2-bedroom apartment one time with 10 other people. It was insane. But living with my parents has a lot of pros and cons. And I think some of the biggest pros are the saving of money and just the familiarity of being at home. And, I know that I'm, again, with the privilege and just having that security, and I get along with my parents. I do. And that is not the case for everybody. So I know in your situation, you may not be able to just go move back in with your parents. So, but I think there's a lot of people out there that could, and that could really take a lot of the stress off of you. Let me just try to interrupt myself here because there is no agenda with this video. I'm just kind of spitballing and talking about my experience in living home with my parents. It's not as bad, and I just hate that it's culturally kind of unacceptable that people really look down upon it. It's common in other parts of the world. People in other cultures will live at home until they're ready to get married, which is, it makes sense. I mean, why would you go and live a life and pay all this money to an apartment complex? And, it just seems like we're unnecessarily blowing money here in the United States. I'm not going to say that all my financial worries are gone now that I'm living at home with my parents, because they definitely are not. And, I think it's important to have some discipline when it comes to your finances so that you don't just start finding a reason to blow money that you would be spending on rent. So you have to kind of take that into consideration. And also, I want to note that I do pay my parents to live here. I'm not just like being a freeloader and living here for nothing, eating all their food and, I don't have them do anything for me. They don't do my laundry. I don't have them do anything. I'm treating them like roommates. And just the fact that the only thing is they allow me to live here at a significantly reduced rate of rent. So I pay them $500 a month, which it's 2026. Where are you going to find a place that's $500 a month, including utilities and everything? It's not possible. I lived in Asheville, North Carolina. I think I was paying like $750 a month, which was a good deal, but it was pretty far outside of town. It was about 30 or 45-minute drive to work for me. I mean, that's not that bad, and that's actually pretty good for Asheville. But I know that was like a find, a steal. That was a really good living situation for me as far as like the place. I don't feel like I was living a healthy life there when I was living and working. Just the job that I had. I don't know. Sometimes you can get in these situations where it's just, you're not living in a good situation that's healthy for you in the long run. And I feel like right now for me living here, it's the best case scenario. And I often have to remind myself of that because the cultural programming that I've received wants to tell me that I'm a fucking loser for living here. And I'm not. And that's not the agenda of this video, is to like try to get people to think that living with your parents is okay. Because I know that in the long term, this is not something that is probably healthy for me to do. And at a certain point, you just need your own space. So that's what sucks about the economy being in the shitter like it is. It's just, it makes it so much harder for everybody. Not only, even just for families. There's people doing this with kids and with spouses. Like, I couldn't imagine that, man. Like having a wife and a kid running around here and you're living at your parents' house. But a lot of families, I personally couldn't imagine that, but some families, that would probably be a perfect situation for them. So everybody just needs to find their balance and stop judging people for whether they do or don't live at home. It's 2026, man. If you've got the ability to shave off rent, stop giving your money away to these scummy landlords. That is the biggest pro of living at home with family, or even if you just want to, like, you have a really good friend, getting a roommate is a good thing. I do feel like living here, I've become a lot closer with my parents. And that's something that you can't put a dollar value on. You can't quantify how good that is. We have really grown a lot closer living here. We've had a lot of arguments for sure, but we've had a lot of good laughs and a lot of good times. And my friend here that I've showed, my friend Jocko, he's sleeping on the couch. Should I show you Jocko? Yeah, we'll show you Jocko. He's become a good friend of mine. Yeah, we'll just, man, this is like, whoa, look at I got this cheap, oh yeah, it's making like a crazy noise. There he is. He's sleeping over there. Whoa, this tripod. We're gonna have to invest in a better tripod, I guess. But yeah, it's cool having a dog, and it's technically my parents' dog, but it's like I get all the benefits of having a pet, but I don't have to like pay for the vet bill, That's although if something came down to it and my parents couldn't afford it, I would absolutely make sure, because man, we've become like my best bud, man. What is the worst thing about living with my parents? I would say just like, sometimes I just feel like I got to get the fuck out of here, You know what I mean? Like, I just got to go like walk around the block. And that's another thing that shows how privileged I am. I live in an area where it's safe to do that, and the climate is fairly reasonable. I don't know, man. Here in Tennessee, June, July, and August fucking suck. It's like humid everywhere you walk out. You walk outside and your deodorant just like immediately evaporates, and you just start immediately sweating. It's like that wet sweat. It's miserable, man. I don't know how you people do it living down in Florida and living in like the tropics somewhere. I would just, after living in Arizona where you get the dry heat, man, it's beautiful, man. I would live back out there in a heartbeat. I don't know. I wouldn't do that in Phoenix. Phoenix is that's just too hot. But when I lived up in Flagstaff, up in the high country out there in Arizona, beautiful, man. Beautiful. Let me kind of straighten us out. We're kind of like crooked. And we're like wobbly. Wobble, wobble, wobble. It's going to be okay. We got a little crooked video. It's going to be okay. Yeah, we're living at our parents' house. We're doing it big. There's a lot of cool like 90s rap songs that hit a lot harder. At my age, I know that I haven't lived here forever. I might feel different about living with my parents if I had never lived outside of my parents' house. Like if I just never moved out. But, I went to school came back for a little bit, then moved out on my own and lived out on my own for a long time. And I've been back for the last 3 years. So I know what it's like to have the freedom to be on your own. And some people don't have that. And I'm not judging you for that at all. If you have to live with your parents for whatever reason, then you shouldn't be ashamed of that. And you shouldn't, feel bad about your situation. It is what it is, man. Everybody's situation is different. And I think what I'm just trying to say is that it's 2026. Things are changing with the world, and you got to do what's best for you, and only you know what's best for you. And if anybody's trying to judge you for your situation, fuck them. Fuck them. I don't know what else to tell you. You know what? Because at the end of the day, somebody else with like a mortgage, they're feeling trapped too. That's a good little trick you can tell yourself. If you're living at home with your parents and you're at a similar age to me and you're feeling trapped, just know that there's somebody out there with a mortgage who also feels trapped. So the grass is always greener. Just go on and get along with it. Try to be nice. Try to enjoy the time with your parents if you're living here. Try to make them smile. Try to make them laugh. Try to move yourself forward, but don't make this goal of moving out. Don't put it up on some pedestal as if it's the ultimate thing that must be achieved. Because the truth is, I'm trying to better my life for sure, but I'm not going to whittle myself down and whittle who I am as a human to get there. You don't have to go thinking about what if scenarios, because that is the worst thing you can do is just, what if this happens? Oh, then what if this happens? And then you're just stuck planning for all these scenarios that may or may not ever come true. Maybe I am slowly becoming like the dude from The Big Lebowski, which there's worse characters to be like. What's wrong with the dude? Everybody loves the dude, right? I might make a video on this topic again because I don't feel like I've really hashed out all the topics. I hate making these videos, and then when I go to edit them, I'm like, damn, why didn't I bring that up? Or I feel like there's just a big hole missing or an idea that I didn't bring up. So it's possible I make a video on this again with a different angle. I do want to bring up some cons about living with your parents. Living with your parents is different than living with roommates in a sense that your parents will always treat you like you're a child. It's sort of like this is their house, and I respect that. I'm not trying to overrule them and the rules in the house, but sometimes I'm just like, hey, clean up your fucking dishes, I would say that to another roommate. But if they don't really feel like it, it's their house. You can't really say anything. It's their house, It's that's also what kind of sucks if you have ever rented a room from somebody that owns the house. If they decide they want to remodel the kitchen, well, there's nothing you can really do about it. I'm fortunate that is pretty rare, and we all get along. We try to. It really does work out for all of us, and I'm just trying to get my life back on track, just like everybody else. This is the best case scenario for me right now in 2026. I'm trying to think of cons that are not specific to my parents. I could sit here and say it kind of sucks sometimes living with your parents because they'll often give me life advice, unsolicited advice. You're like, I don't know what to do about this job. And the next thing you know, they're telling me what to do. And that can kind of lead to arguments. But that's the case with interacting with your parents for a lot of people, unfortunately. It's sort of like if you're a parent to somebody, you can never really turn that switch off. You're always going to want to tell them what you think is best, even if that does come across as unsolicited advice. This has been just a video of me rambling on about what it's like living with my parents, and I kind of I'm cool with it. And I think it should be more acceptable here in the United States. If you can do it, it will take a little stress and anxiety off of you and the financial situation, and it also bring you closer to your parents. So again, this video doesn't have an objective. I understand that people, they think that that is a loser mentality. It is the right way to live, is to live on your own and create your own life, create and build your own family, and have your parents and immediate family at an arm's length. And then just that's how you move forward in the world. That's how you become a man. That's how you become a man. You got to go out on your own. And if that's what you think, then I'm not trying to convince you. I'm not trying to convince you otherwise. That's not what I'm doing in this video. So you live your life, I'll live mine, and I'm not going to judge you. I'm going to ask that you don't judge me. But if you do, I don't really give a fuck. I want you to live your best life. I genuinely mean that. I want you to live your best life. Right now, for me, in 2026, in my situation, this is me living my best life. So cheers to that. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you in the next one.